this is Erin Swenlin with DecisionPoint.com, bringing you your daily 5. Let me show you the charts that I think are the most important that you should be looking at and monitoring this week. And I have some great ones to show you. Before I start, though, I wanted to let you know that we do have at DecisionPoint.com 2 newsletters that you might find of interest. The Decision Point Alert, which is going to give you kind of what the 3 first slides are going to give you here in your daily 5. I give you the trend and condition of the market. We look at our primary indicators, but I also cover yields and bonds and Bitcoin and crude oil and gold and plenty of other things in the DP alert. Gold miners, that was the one I was trying to think of. So we cover all of those in the DP alert every market day. You'll get that. It's very concise and easy to read. Decision Point Diamonds is where you're going to find 10 stock picks per week, including 3 ETFs on Wednesday. So if you're an ETF trader, you'll get some action out of Decision Point Diamonds as well. If you want to try us out for 2 weeks, use that coupon code DP Trial 2 and see what we can do to make your job easier as far as following the market. We try and keep it concise to give you the easiest information the quickest. All right, S&P 500, let's start off with the 1-year chart. So the market started the year with a decline, but we managed to get a little bit of upside. I took this, these are charts that are real time. And as of the recording of this, we were seeing a decline in the S&P 500 coming off of 2 days of pretty good rally. I had an upside initiation climax come in on yesterday's Mondays. I had it on Mondays, Decision Point Alert. We had an upside initiation climax, which told us we should have gotten higher prices today. And so far, we're not seeing that on Tuesday as it was expected. Remember, when you have bullish, when you get bullish indications and indicators and they don't result in higher prices, there's some problems internally. And stochastics are still rising, so that's good. PMO is trying to turn up. So we could get a little bit more upside here, but we are relatively overbought, I would say, for the SPY. Let's look at our Swenlin trading oscillators and the ITBM and ITVM. All right, so kind of a mixed bag here. Swenlin trading oscillators did turn up on Monday, and that's good for the short term on that rally. But again, we're not getting the rally I would expect, that follow through, and that's a bit of a problem here. But good to see these indicators turning up for the short term. So maybe we will get a little bit more upside out of this before the downside resumes. And I say the downside resumes because we can see the intermediate term breadth momentum and volume momentum, both of those have turned down and are continuing to move lower. So that tells me that there is still some issue going on with the market in the intermediate term. So there are other problems here going on in the intermediate term. Let's look at our Golden Cross and Silver Cross indexes. So Silver Cross Index and the Golden Cross Index. And then we also have stocks above their 20, 50, and 200-day EMAs. This gives us a really great look straight into the internals of this market. Right now, you can see that we have above 50%. We have a bullish threshold of 50%, and all of these are reading above that. So that gives us a short-term bullish bias. But there are problems brewing. And number one is the Silver Cross Index. Let me explain what these are before I get too far into the weeds. Golden Cross Index, you are familiar with a Golden Cross. That's when a 50-day EMA crosses above a 200-day EMA or moving average, simple moving average, doesn't matter which one, but we use EMAs. So that's Golden Cross. The Golden Cross Index tells us how many stocks have a 50-day EMA above the 200-day EMA, or that are in bull market configurations. So that's what we want to see. 71% are in bull market configurations in the long term. So that's good. That's healthy. The Silver Cross Index is an extension of the Golden Cross Index. We mark a silver cross as being a 20-day EMA crossing above the 50-day EMA. When a stock has its 20 above the 50, it has at the very least, a bullish bias in the intermediate term. And so we want to see how many stocks hold that bullish bias in the intermediate term. That's what the Silver Cross Index tells us. How many stocks have a 20 above the 50? That's at a very healthy 88.8% right now. But the problem is that this indicator has topped. And we haven't seen a top in this indicator for quite some time. And if it moves below its signal line, that's going to give us a bearish bias in the intermediate term. So there are some problems going on here that we should be aware of. And this is what's keeping us cautious right now. The market is very overbought from out of that October rally, and the internals are slowly starting to break down a little bit. The other thing to note is that these percentages of stocks above their 20 and 50-day EMAs, these percentages are lower than the Silver Cross Index. And that tells us that the Silver Cross Index is likely to continue lower and likely to move below that signal line. So overall, market short term, we have some opportunity for a little bit more upside, but internals breaking down on the inside of the market. And that tells us that we shouldn't be expecting the rally. If we do get some more rally, we shouldn't expect that to get too extended. More than likely, we're going to see some decline in the intermediate term. And that's pretty much what Carl and I are thinking. So let's shift gears and let's look at the utilities sector. I know the utilities sector is probably the least sexy of all of the sectors, but right now rotation is moving into these defensive sectors, and utilities is showing the most new momentum. I like that it's new momentum. So many of the sectors are either turning over on their PMOs or they're just really overbought PMOs. In this case, the PMO is not quite overbought, but it did have that opportunity to decompress, and now it's headed back up, and I like that. Stochastics are above 80. Look at the internals for this sector. 100% have their price above their 20-day EMA. 93% have price above their 50-day EMA. We have some great internal strength in the short and intermediate term here for utilities. And you can see that the Silver Cross Index is reading at a healthy 90%. It should go higher because we have higher percentages above their 20 and 50-day EMAs. If price moves above a 20 or a 50-day EMA, if it moves above any EMA, the EMA is going to follow it. So if the EMAs are rising because price is above them, then we're going to see that Silver Cross Index move higher as these 20-day EMAs get moved above their 50-day EMAs. So utilities still showing some relative strength. I think that this is going to be an interesting area the rest of the week. So what about a stock within? I might as well give you a tip, right? Let's look at Edison International. I found this one in a scan earlier today of that group. I went through and just picked out some of the stocks that I liked, and Edison was the one I liked the best in utilities of the ones I looked at. And you can see a nice little breakout occurring here out of a very wide trading range. I like to see that. This is really strong overhead resistance, and it did manage to get above that. The RSI is a little on the overbought side, but certainly could get more overbought. It's held overbought conditions for quite some time, so it's not like it couldn't do that further. The PMO is on the overbought side, admittedly, but it is rising still very strongly. This one really caught my eye because of that breakout. And stochastics are above 80 and staying there, so there's lots of internal strength. And you can see that this stock is a leader within its group, and it's leading against the S&P. The group is also performing fairly well. Looks like near term, there might be a little bit of issues with the group. But overall, I have to say, when I looked at the group chart, it looks positive. So I'm expecting more out of Edison International. That's all I have for you on today's Daily 5. I hope you enjoyed it. And come check us out at decisionpoint.com. Remember, you can use that coupon code DPTrial2, and that will give you 2 free weeks of either or both of our publications. And I hope you have good luck and good trading for the beginning of the year.